Hi everyone, welcome to my 2020 bullet journal part 4. In this video I'm going to be going over my bullet journal pages from October, November, and December, so the last quarter of the year, as well as going over a few of my pages that I filled out from the start of my bullet journal and also a few from the end of the bullet journal that I added in. I know lots of people right now in the bullet journal community are putting up some really fancy flip throughs from 2020 and then putting up their 2021 plan with me's, and they all look beautiful. And this is just a fair warning if you're new to the channel, my bullet journal is not aesthetic by any means. It's a hot mess, but I love it all the same. So here we go. Here is the start of my October pages. As always, I picked a color of the month, and naturally that was orange for October. I picked a nice little Wednesday Addams quote, and in the poem of the month that I wrote, I had to include a little pumpkin spice nod on there as well. After the Dutch store, I put in the calendar for the month, and I stuck to the one-page calendar because, again, not a lot going on. I'm mostly still staying at home, even now in December, so I just figured I didn't need a lot of room for that. And I kept the same activities log, or daily log I guess, on the other page where I put down everything that I was up to. Mostly Animal Crossing every day, but I did also include a few other things, like if I went on walks, or if I watched a movie, or read a book, or anything like that, that was of significance. On the page after that, I included my blog planner for October and the watch log. Neither of those are new for my spreads, so you've seen them before. And continuing with some of my hobbies, I did my baking log. I didn't do too many bakes this time, so I didn't really run out of room there. And I also put down my October classes, which included ballet, the arts and crafts classes, and the book club. I didn't bother to block out any of the meeting IDs because all of those classes are done with now, so they're not really relevant anymore. I included my Animal Crossing Aquila Island updates there. Since I play so much, I just figured it might be really cool to see how I ended each month, who was my villager at the time, who left at the time, any events that I participated in, and then just keeping track of a few projects I would like to do on my island. After that, I did a Halloween page just because I thought that would be really fun. Of course, not a lot happened for Halloween, so there you go. I also put in an ofrenda checklist of sorts for Day of the Dead. I figured that I might as well put it on here because it's just so early in November, and to be honest, I kind of needed something to fill the last page up for October, so I figured it would be perfect here. And then I did an autumn ideal day. It's a very simple layout, and I just kind of like doing it even though my ideal day doesn't really change. Moving on to November, I picked brown and I tried to draw coffee cups, but I'm really a terrible artist. Remember how I said this was not going to be a good looking bullet journal? Yeah, this is why. But I did pick a quote from President-elect Joe Biden and then did a little poem per usual. Same thing here, one page for the calendar, and then I included the activity log. Once again, we have the blog planner there, and a little checklist, and the watch log just so I can keep track of everything. It is kind of redundant because I do put everything that I watch into my activities page, but for me it's just easier to have it on here so that way everything that I watched is all in one spot, and I have it all ready to go for my lively post for my blog every month. And then I included the baking page per usual. Not too many bakes again, but there it is. And then my classes, once again, Animal Crossing updates. And then the other page, I put Camp Cuddles holidays because my puppy niece came back. She is still with me, so I just put some ideas down for activities. It's pretty much the same activities as the time before. She doesn't have too much variety, but I just figured it would be nice to include it again since she's back. Next page, I just wanted to remember the election and the results. In case you couldn't tell, I'm pretty happy about it, so there you go. Then the next page, I did the Nanowrimo 2020 tracker. I participated this year, and the goal is basically to write 50,000 words of a project that you're doing. And I chose to do the more traditional brand new project, never written anything for it. This is a brand new idea for me, so I did that. I hit my goal pretty quickly. I reached 50,000 words on the 20th and decided that was plenty for me for the month because I was just writing so much. So I ended there, and I do have plans to go back, edit, add more and stuff like that because 50,000 words is not enough for a full novel, but it was a lot of fun and I'm really glad I made that goal. On the next page, I just did a very haphazard Thanksgiving thing. Honestly, at this point, I was kind of running out of ideas and was doing it at last minute, so I just did some boxes, made some random headers, stuff like that. So it's not the best page that I've done, but it got the job done. And then December, so this current month, I'm not done with this month obviously, but here's what I've done so far. Instead of a quote, I looked up the flute sheet music for Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy from the Nutcracker and put it in here. I used to play flute for many years, so I thought that would be just a really cute idea to add in. I continued with the same thing, a one-page calendar and the activity log. You can see the blog planner is a little different. That's because of Vlogmas. Then I included my entertainment log and the class log as well. The baking page, still need to fill that out. And then I thought I would do like a favorite bakes of 2020. I tried to do it in like a presents kind of format, but I didn't really plan it out, and some of the presents look really wonky. I mean, it could be better, but it's fine. Animal Crossing New Horizon updates. I filled in part of it already, just because I did get a few of the projects done already. I have the classic, one of my neighbors started leaf blowing or something problem, so if you can hear that, my apologies. I also did a really quick holiday checklist. I actually still need to wrap the gifts, so it's a good thing I'm filming this so that I remember to do that because we should get on that. Okay, the leaf blower is done now, so I figured I would continue. Sorry if my setup is a little different. The next spread I dedicated to Christmas because that is a pretty big holiday coming up for my family and myself. I split it up into 4 sections, so that was split up into holiday to-dos, ideas for celebrating Christmas in the queue, Christmas bakes I want to do, and then gift tracking. Then the next spread is for New Year's. I just did a really quick highs and lows for 2020. And then I also put in my resolution, I suppose, from 2020, and then made a new one for 2021. Alright, and then this is the beginning pages of my bullet journal. I won't go over each one because some of them aren't that interesting, honestly, but I included one for themes of 2020, which I saw in other setup videos from last year. And then I also did a word for every month. So I picked a different word that I thought best represented how that month went for me personally. If you saw my part 1 for 2020, you'll know that only the first 2 shelves were created, and I didn't even know if I was going to fill up that many books. I ended up having to expand this page. I believe this one holds 60 book titles, and you'll see towards the end I had to do an overflow page at the end of my bullet journal because I actually ran out of room. I ended up reading a lot since we were just at home, so that is why I filled up the page very quickly. And I picked colors based on what I thought the book itself featured the most on their cover. The next page was musicals and events. I only went to one in-person musical at the beginning of the year, which was Grease, and I had thought that I would have enough room for all the musicals I planned to see, but clearly that didn't happen in that way. Instead, I ended up putting down the virtual musicals that I saw, mostly on YouTube. I talked about that on my blog. They were not bootleg musicals, it was totally legit. The next page had my blog tracker for different stats and stuff, so I kind of moved my bullet journal over to the side just so that you could only see the top posts for a month. I just didn't really feel like putting down the stats on here. And then you can see my travel page as well. If you watch part 1, you know I decorated it to look kind of like a passport page and was doing this kind of stamps idea for where I traveled. I thought I was going to have a few more, but clearly that didn't work out, and that's okay. Skipping to the end of my bullet journal where I had a few extra pages, I saw somebody else do a 20 good things about 2020 spread, and I thought that was a really cute idea, so I copied that. I wish I had written it down so I could remember who did it, but unfortunately I didn't, so here it is. I did 20 things I accomplished in 2020 and 20 opportunities left over from 2020 that I'll carry over to 2021 if needed. Continuing with the list kind of thing, I did an after the Q spread for 2020, and I did it similar to that Christmas spread that I did where I split into 4 sections, and I did things that I want to reschedule or start doing again after the quarantine. So things like going back into in-person ballet classes instead of virtual, for example, once it's safe to do so. The next page has my YouTube stats. I really don't mind if you see those. I set a goal for myself back in May of doing at least 1 video a month, and I've managed to accomplish that since then. There's my Overflow books page. I only have 2 books on there right now. I am in the process of finishing a couple more though, so I'll fill out that shelf a little bit by the end, and then I just have a post-it with ideas of what I want to fill out the rest of the page with, which I find very helpful as I go through. Really quickly for the last few spreads, I did a poem with those words that I mentioned from the start of my bullet journal, where I picked a different word for every month that I thought best represented it, so I put that all together on here. And then I thought it would be cute to combine all the monthly quotes all into one spread, so here they are. And same thing for every poem that I wrote, I combined it on there. And I finished it off with a very simple thank you 2020, welcome 2021 page, just to make sure we're ending things on the right foot and hopefully starting 2021 on the right foot as well. And that's my 2020 bullet journal. Thank you so much for joining me for the bullet journal video. I really enjoyed putting this together. Like I said in previous videos, in case you saw those, this was my first year bullet journaling, and I kind of picked it up on a whim after seeing a bunch of plan with me's and setups for 2020 back at the end of December last year. So I had a lot of fun putting this all together and doing it and keeping up with it. I really didn't know if I would at the beginning of the year, so I'm super proud that I stuck with it. And it was fun every step of the way. I already purchased a new bullet journal for 2021. I was going to share it on this video, but I forgot in the other room, so I guess I'm just going to have to wait until the next video for that so that I can get to editing this and put this up. As always, if you're here for my blog, starringpamela.com, thank you so much for making the jump over here and watching this video. If you're brand new to my channel and to me, I blog over there on starringpamela.com. Right now I'm wrapping up doing Blogmas, where I'm blogging every day until December 25th, and I usually blog about 2 times a week, so feel free to follow me over there or subscribe to this channel, whichever you prefer. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of the year, and I hope you have an amazing 2021. Bye.